So about a year ago, I made a review talking about the first season of Solo Leveling. And my overall review for that was, it was kind of a middle of the road season, or at least a very middle road to the Solo Leveling introduction that I've already experienced multiple times because I read the manhwa. But I did say that Season 2 was going to be the determining factor as to whether I thought that Season 1 and the whole entirety of Solo Leveling was just an overhyped trash of garbage, or something that I was completely wrong about and something that I could actually enjoy. Oh baby, it's peak, it's so peak, Solo Leveling, it's so peak, Solo Leveling is great, Solo Leveling is amazing, it's awesome, I can't sing the praises of this show long enough. I have never pivoted harder on a show than Solo Leveling. Let me tell you boys, that shit is gas. I have never been so happy to be wrong in my entire life than this season right here. Season 2 not only proved me wrong, but slapped me in the face and told me to watch it do its thing, and I did exactly that, and my lord in heaven, was it a banger. Banger after banger after banger after banger episode. It just kept proving me wrong, and it just kept hitting me non-stop. It was like, oh yeah, season 2 episode 1, boom, banger. Season 2 of episode 2, boom, banger. Episode 3 of season 2, boom, banger. And I just keep doing that, and I just kept getting more impressed and more elated. I was like, yes, keep doing this, keep going on, and by the end of it, I was sold. I'm officially a dick rider for Solo Leveling because this was great. Now, I know that may be a hot take because Solo Leveling is also the new thing to hate right now, especially after the Anime Awards, which, man, do I think it should have been out free run? No, but, you know, that's just me. But that's not to say that I didn't think Solo Leveling was the number 2 of that year, because it definitely, most certainly was. And honestly, it really didn't have to do much, and it proved it here because I think Solo Leveling is an anime that thrives on simplicity. Now, I think a lot of people are gonna be either confused or attack me saying that it's a complex story, and I'm gonna be honest, no. See, Solo Leveling is not a complex story at all, but it thrives in that manner. I think there are a lot of people in the anime community where we could agree that a more complex story can usually raise it up to the ranks of something that could be pretty good or be considered something that is of high quality. I could think of a lot of anime that do this, something like Full Metal Alchemist, which is its whole story of law of equivalent exchange and stuff like that. I mean, throwing it completely to the other spectrum, you talk to any like deep anime friend that's really into tensions, they'll probably throw out something like Sunny Boy, which, man, that is a whole complex thing on its own. But I do think there's a lot of people that equate complexity with quality. But that's not always the case. I do think that the more important thing is execution. You can have a great anime that's simple and a great anime that's complex, and it always depends on the execution. Hell, you can have a top tier anime that's not hard to understand at all, or a complex anime that is completely trash because you can't understand it to save your life. It all depends on execution, and it all depends how you present the story and how you set it up. Now, back in my season 1 review, I did mention this as a criticism, but I did say that there was enough there to latch on to. Season 2 was going to be the deciding factor, and season 2 paid off on everything that season 1 did, and season 1 bolstered a lot of what season 2 did. I think a great example of this is the very first episode of season 2, where it feels like we're making this jump where Sung Jin-woo's now this different person from when he was in season 1. His design has changed, the way he holds himself is different, but we also saw him go through quite literally a lot of hell in the first season, where he almost died, he was training himself, he was fighting against the Cerberus, he was doing all of this thing and putting all of this work, going as far as to throw away his morality in order to get stronger, and in season 2 we see that pay off. He's gotten stronger, so strong that he can be locked into a red gate and body everything that's in there. And again, that's just simple. That's just simple thing. You see somebody do something in season 1, it's a couple of actions, and it gets paid off in season 2. It's simple as that. There's no complex thing where they had to completely explain whole ass systems and do some convoluted thing with its character. No, it is just a character who wanted to get stronger and had a purpose, did stuff to do that, and in season 2 it just paid off. And within season 2, it is just that continuation where we get the payoffs and he's still working his ass off in order to be stronger, in order to be the person that he wants to be for his family, for his mom, for his sister. And it's just paying off with each episode because we see the determination within him. Again, we don't need some convoluted dialogue that explains the intricacies of his life or even more backstories. He just stated his goals. We saw those goals. We saw his ambitions, and now his ambitions are paying off. The things that he does is paying off in some of the best animated fight scenes of the year. And we can also pivot to that real quick. I can fully admit that the animation that this team put in definitely helped bolster it up into the number 2 spot, in my personal opinion. Let's get that clear, for last year of 2024. But brother, the story is still so good that if you just had okay to just decent animation, I think I'd still give this a pretty high rating of like 8 and 8.5 because I enjoyed it that much. And some people might look at Solo Leveling and look at it as maybe they want a little more meat, maybe they want more stuff to their bones. But the way I see it, Solo Leveling has found a way to just strip all the bullshit and the clutter that a lot of shonen anime tends to find itself in and just get straight to the point. And I think that's what I appreciated about it as much, going from season 1 to season 2. My biggest fear is that we were going to get bogged down in the whole journey from him coming the strongest. It was going to be a slow burn, and that's fine. But at a certain point, that type of story is just, we're adding so much detail, and how much can you actually add, and how much can you actually do stuff, to the point where I would have definitely lost interest. But I wouldn't say I was also afraid going in to the beginning of season 2, because they did do the jump. And while, I praised it before, initially I was skeptical because time skips, in a sense, are kind of hard to do. Now, it wasn't a hard time skip, but it definitely changed a lot of things and a lot of perspective, to where it's like, okay, we originally left Sung Jin Woo as this kind of meek person but was getting stronger, and now he's kind of already at this S rank but still just getting exponentially stronger as we go on. But the team were able to do it and able to manage it in a way that was actually quite impressive to me. When I watched those first 3 episodes of season 2, I was quite impressed. I was a little worried and I was a little scared, but they really brought the heat to Sung Jin Woo's character and the people around him, and I was happy with the results. But I do think the point in which everything gets tied together is at one episode. There is one particular episode where I definitively knew that season 2 was doing everything right and building off of everything it could in such a proper manner. And that was episode 9. Now, episode 9, for those who may not remember, because it has been a minute since the anime came out, was the episode where we get Sung Jin Woo's mom waking up for the very first time in the series. And a lot of people did not like this episode, mainly because they think it detracted from the point of Solo Leveling, or it was an episode that just felt completely unnecessary. And I think still to this day, it is the most disliked episode in that season. And I usually don't get this volatile, and I usually don't make big statement like this, just because I like to see both sides of things. I like to give that opinion at least a chance to breathe and try to both sides things to give a better constructive review. But in this case, which is very rare, mind you, I think people who hated episode 9 of season 2 for Solo Leveling is just completely wrong, and I would borderline say illiterate. For people who thought that episode 9 genuinely was bad, or thought that it was out of place in the season, or thought it sucked, or any massively extremely negative thing, I think you completely missed the point of what Solo Leveling was trying to do with that episode. Why I still think that is the best episode, not only in season 2 but in the series so far, is the fact that that is the episode that gave us the satisfaction that we needed for Sung Jin Woo's entire journey. Sung Jin Woo was not just some random shonen MC that is aura farming and just getting stronger for the fuck of it. Sung Jin Woo had a goal. He had a goal that he was willing to do anything for, and that was reviving his mother. Sung Jin Woo trained, he got stronger, he went as far as to murder other hunters that were going after him respectively, but he went as far as to murder other hunters just to get to his goal. Sung Jin Woo trained his ass off and damn near almost gave up his morality in order to do anything he can to get his mother back. And it shows in season 1 and it shows in season 2. That man put himself on the line for his family, for his mother's sake, for his sister's sake, all to try to give them a better life and all just to give them a better chance at being happy. That determination was already there when he was in E-class, and him just gaining more power never changed anything. He didn't become vapid, he didn't see anything differently, he was so set on one goal and one goal only. He put everything that he had as a person into trying his best for his goal. And episode 9 gave us that satisfactory of seeing his mom wake up and just comforting him. It was the satisfaction of everything as a MC he went through mattered. It mattered for him and it mattered for the people around him. It wasn't just bullshit. It wasn't just random filler. Everything was towards a goal. And throughout a season and a half of content, everything that he did wasn't in vain and that he got his mother back. This is exactly what I mean when I say that Solo Leveling does simplicity so right, because it cut all the bullshit. It didn't have to remind us all the time that his mom was there. It didn't have to remind us all the time that he was fighting for a goal. We just knew, and it knew through his actions. There was no over-the-top theatrics. There was no big swinging thing with animation, stuff like that. It was just him in a room with his mom and no one else. And her words were the only thing he wanted to hear, and he got that. And I think to wrap up the review properly, I think episode 9 is just the best example of what season 2 strives to do. Solo Leveling season 2 is an anime that just respects your time and considers you a smart watcher. It doesn't have to remind you 10 times about something. It doesn't have to give you a long, drawn-out explanation of what the MC is trying to do or what characters around him are doing against him. It doesn't have to explain all of that to you. It tells you maybe a couple of times as a nice reminder, and it shows you through its actions what it's all about. And it respects you by knowing and understanding that you want a particular thing, and you want that thing in the best way possible, in the most efficient way possible, and it gives that to you and more. Solo Leveling 2, for as much as people want to hate it, is probably the anime right now I think that it respects its fans the most. Trust me, I used to be a Solo Leveling hater and borderline was going to double down on it, but season 2 proved to me that it's an anime that just knows what it's doing and knows what the audience wants. And honestly, in a world where we get so much different type of slop from various different ranges, something like Solo Leveling, it's nice to have. And I like being respected as a viewer for my time and the energy I put into loving it.
I'm like so gay.